centric. So we worry about making money. And we all know companies that think that way. So this is that 1.0 mindset. In the Meet Me app or Scout, or whichever app you're doing on live streaming, focusing on getting your diamonds, that's a 1.0 mentality. 2.0 is when we kind of upgrade to being in the driving seat of our lives. Now, the comedy is that sometimes we have car crashes and we wonder why. Because we've been pretending we're in the passenger seat of our own lives, which isn't the case. We're actually at least in the driving seat, right? So 2.0 is taking ownership, being in that driving seat, focus on getting results, being productive, and you have a longer term view of what you're doing, thinking about your career, right? And you have goals you're trying to achieve. So that's that 2.0, and you're participating, you're engaging. You're not just passively taking whatever life throws at you or blaming your circumstances or your boss or your colleagues or your family or your partner or anybody else. And then we have the 3.0. The 3.0 is this co-creative mindset. We say it's like being a designer of your life, being a designer of the world around you. You're purpose-centric, and you're thinking about the difference you're making, the impact that you are having. You think strategically. You take ownership of things, and you're committed to making a difference. So you look at, what can I do to really make a difference here? That's that 3.0 thinking, that you're constantly looking at, what can I do now to make a difference, to be purpose-centric, to make an impact. And that's what this show is all about. So just take a moment now, and in your life, in your work, or on a project you're on, or in your studies, whatever or if you're volunteering, you can look at your volunteering. But in any of those things, ask yourself, what mindset am I bringing to my job, for example? Am I bringing that 1.0 passenger mindset, which is that people are just, it's my boss's situation. If my boss was different, then I'd have a different experience at work. It's all to do with my company. It's all to do with the circumstances. That's 1.0. 2.0 is, you know what? It's down to me. I can make it happen. That's that 2.0. But 3.0, I'm the designer of everything. I can co-create this business that I'm in with my bosses, with my colleagues, so that we can make a real difference with our work. So in the chat, put there whether you are 1.0, 2.0, or 3.0 in your work or projects that you're doing right now. We've got Kiwi saying that they're a 2. Ron is a 1 at work. Matthew, more miserables, he's really a 3. He's in law enforcement, so that's a really good thing. He's making a huge difference. Only Bob is 1.5. Got it. Great. Thanks, Bob. Right. And we've got Ron, passenger at 1.0. Vampy, there, she's at 1 at work. Ethan's at 2. All right, great. Maddie, welcome to the stream. So the auction is at 1, Baroness, yes. So you can start to see, and as we go through today's conversation, you can start to think about, well, what does this mean for me and how could I upgrade? So I'm going to introduce you. Phyllis, if you can request the box, I'm going to introduce you to Phyllis Santamaria. Now, Phyllis and I have known each other for many years, and I came to meet Phyllis through a course that she was running. So Phyllis has been in the business of making impact for a very long time, you'll come to discover. And I went on Phyllis's course because I was doing a project in a place called East Timor, which is in Southeast Asia, for the president of East Timor. And he is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. And he and me and someone else were going over there to help him establish a conservation animal park there. So we had this huge project we were doing. And it's a developing country. And Phyllis was offering courses on how to make an impact with your skills in developing countries. And in particular, how to create financial inclusion so that you lift the economy and you lift people's lives when you work with them, rather than just doing work on them, right? And so Phyllis was offering this course, and I did her course, and it was a practical course, and I really loved it. And I took my coaching skills and Phyllis's ideas, and Phyllis and I joined forces, and we founded Learning Without Borders together and created the programs that we do together. And you're going to be totally inspired hearing Phyllis's story. I'm going to put her in the box now. Here we go. All right.
Hi, Gabe.
Welcome, Phyllis. It's great to have you here. Thank you for joining us, Phyllis. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Yes, I'm really excited to be here. Yeah.
Oh, it's great to have you here, Phyllis. So everyone meet my lovely business partner, Phyllis, and really close friend. She was also my support group this weekend in that 108 run for charity. It was crazy. And Phyllis stayed up for most of the 24 hours, making sure I got fuel and everything I needed to be able to succeed at that event and win, funny enough. Wow. Right. So thank you for all that. So Phyllis, we're just going to right into it. And we'll start with, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Phyllis, a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, originally I'm from Texas, just like Gabe. And I went to University of Massachusetts, just like Gabe. And then I became a U.S. Peace Corps volunteer. Many of you know that was founded by President Kennedy for people to work for 2 years in a developing country to provide technical support and to see how in some way you can improve the communities you're working with. And after my first assignment was in Guatemala, and then after that also went into the Peace Corps in Kenya. And I've done a whole range of other things as well as international development. So I've been working in education in the UK. Oh, I should say, of course, that I'm based in London. I've been living in the UK since 1973. And also, I have been involved in education not only in the UK and the US, as well as Germany. I taught in the German system for 3 years, so I now speak German. And also, I was very fortunate to work at the BBC on a very groundbreaking project in the mid-1980s. And it was a huge interactive multimedia project. It was probably the first one of its kind in the world, and it was the only one, long before the internet. And we involved 1 million people in collecting information, which we put onto video disc. And it was really earth-shattering. And then after that, I got involved with interactive multimedia, worked in that on projects in Germany as well as the UK. And then also another thing that I got involved with, as Gabe mentioned, was microfinance, which is a way of making financial services available to people who don't have them. And there's over 2 billion people in the world who don't have access to financial services. And so for 2005, I was the coordinator for the UK for the UN Year of Microcredit. And we won awards from the UN and the World Bank. And that's where, in that time, that's where I met Gabe, because I was giving these courses after that UN year. Because so many professionals came to me and said, we want to use our skills to make a difference. They were earning a lot of money for rich people, but we want to use our skills to make a difference. And so that's how I got started with my courses in microfinance. And that's how Gabe and I met. And we've been working together since 2011. And in that time, we've included our work not only in the UK, but also we spend a year in China, working with companies there in the financial services, but helping them to get clarity about their purpose. But so I would say, and I have, and Gabe and I have been working together, and now we're offering our courses as a module at the University of Nottingham with students there. We've done 2 years. We're going into our 3rd year, as well as offering our courses to professionals. So, but I think one of the really important things that I did was my first stint as a U.S. Peace Corps volunteer in Guatemala. And that's when I was just 22 at the time, and it was probably one of the big events that really shaped my life. And
That's
I don't know, should I tell you a bit about that, or?
yeah, yeah. Actually, it's segueing quite nicely, Phyllis, because one of my next questions for you was, as we look into talking about this idea of the 3.0 mindset, right? Where that 1.0 mindset is when we're a passenger, and that 2.0 mindset is when we're in the driving seat. But that 3.0 is when we actually go beyond that and we see ourselves as the designers of our future, designers of the world around us, and that we leave nothing to chance, but we go for it. And I think that the work that you did in the Peace Corps was a great illustration of that sort of shift that you helped others make, between the 1.0 up to the 3.0 mindset. So can you tell us a little bit about that work and what you did and how that shift happened?
Okay, well, just imagine the scene. This is a town in the highlands of Guatemala. So a lot of people think Central America, it's like parts of Mexico, really hot and dry. But this is landscape with volcanoes surrounding us, and the people there are Mayans. And Mayans are a very ancient civilization. And in the country of Guatemala, 60% of the population are Mayans. And at that time, especially, they were very discriminated against. So I was sent into this town of Comalapa in the highlands of Guatemala. And my job was to find out what the people wanted and to help to develop them, to develop themselves, and to help them get that. So I started working with the women, and we started with cooking and childcare classes. But then we got this idea, because this was in the mid 1960s. We got this idea because they weave their blouses. Each town in Guatemala has a beautiful design in their blouse. So we got this idea to start making some products out of their weavings, small things. And I started selling them to the Peace Corps volunteers because these crafts were not able for people to get them very easily. And it started just growing and growing. And we invented, well, I should go and get it. I will in a minute. We invented these little purses. And the women and we just really started realizing this is something that we can really sell. And so, but the women got inspired by this. It wasn't, as it turned out, it wasn't just for themselves. They also saw how this could be a help to other women and how the women could really do something to help their own families. Because most people there are unfortunately at the 1.0 mindset of survival. These people grow their own maize, their corn, and their beans, or potatoes and wheat. And the women were just weaving their own blouses. But we started selling these things. And then the women, several of the women and I would go into Guatemala City selling even in the shops. And the shopkeeper would say to me, "You can come in, but those women can't come in." And they would say in very derogatory terms, "There's indios," which is a bit like saying, "You're the scum." And I said, if they don't come in, I don't come in. So they allowed them in. And eventually, the women themselves, when they started going themselves later on, they said to me, "We can now choose who we're going to sell to." But the point was that the women not only thought about themselves, but they started inviting women from all of the town and from all of the outlying villages. These people that live in places, these women that live in places where there's maybe only 10 houses together. And they would come in on market days and we'd have the meetings and the women would get the idea and they'd bring in the weavings and then we would go and sell them. And it was like a really small, like a small revolution at the ground level, that these women realized that they could really do something where they could earn money and they could be the ones who are bringing more into their families, but also for their community, helping the other women so that the other women could also be helping their families. And that to me, it was one of the most exciting things I've ever done, because you realize what it is to make a difference. And that, afterwards I worked on other things and I reflected back on that and I thought that's where I really got in touch with my purpose. And then because I knew what it was like, I was never satisfied unless I was doing something where I was actually fulfilling my purpose, which is empowering the undervalued.
Yes. Yes, and you do that every day, Phyllis. You do that every day, and I think that's the thing. As you listen to Phyllis's inspiring story of how she helped those women see past what their survival mindset, that 1.0, that they were trained, their environment trained them to think from. Phyllis worked hard with each one of them to see something else was possible by building on what they were already doing, those weavings they were already doing, and just make some slight tweaks, and they could be the masters of their future, right? They could be the creators of their future. And so that she shifted them to that 3.0, which helped them get through many rough times that came along. And for generations now, there's a couple of generations that have happened since then, right? And young people have been able to go to university from the sons and grandkids of those very original women, right?
Right, and also some of the women could choose to remain single, and they realized that they didn't have to get married to be somebody. And so a lot of the women chose to remain single, and they've educated their nephews and nieces, and they made such a contribution. Or one woman who was a single parent, she was able to earn her living. And also, many people might not know this, but there was a 30-year civil war in Guatemala. And the weavings really helped the women because they were known internationally. It helped them to be protected. And also there was an earthquake there. It was the worst earthquake in the 20th century in the Western Hemisphere in 1976. And through selling the weavings, because they didn't get much outside help to rebuild their community, but selling the weavings, they were able to bounce back faster as a result. So, last year, the president of the weaving group came to London. She was able to pay for her own trip to Europe and for her great nephew, because she's one of the women who chose to remain single. And she paid for her own trip to Europe and to the Holy Land from what she had earned throughout these last 50 years with her weavings and also investing in land and developing things. And so you can see what a huge difference that made. She was one of the first women to learn to buy her own pickup truck and to learn to drive her own pickup truck, as did some of the other women too. So it's really gratifying to see over 3 generations what an impact that's made. But the thing is that it always made me search for doing something like that to make an impact with my work. For the rest of my life, what I had learned in that first third of my life.
Yeah, and that's so beautiful. Yeah. And what you guys can hear in Phyllis sharing this piece of her story is that, whatever the circumstance, either you as an individual, whatever our life circumstances, it can be any kind of circumstance, we can all look to that 3.0 purpose mindset. None of us are exempt from having that be possible for us, but it takes us making the conscious effort like those women did, and like you've obviously heard how Phyllis has, right? So we can all step into that 3.0 mindset. Thank you so much, Phyllis, for sharing so beautifully. Everybody was saying how much they love listening to you, and they can listen to you all day. Right, so thank you for the beautiful comments, and Phyllis, stay in the chat and you can respond to people. You can scroll up and find out what people are saying. Feel free to reply to people, and if you're chatting, I can only occasionally glance at the chat, so I can't see everything, but we are recording all the chat, so if you're putting stuff in there that we can follow up with later, hit me with a hi, and a favorite and a hi on the app. And if there's something that I need to like come back to you on, I'll do that. Or just message me on Instagram. You can find that in my profile or above my head, right? You can reach out Phyllis on LinkedIn there. You can see her LinkedIn's up there. So feel free to reach out to us on that. Thank you again, Phyllis. You were amazing. Thank you so much. All right. So now you can hear Phyllis also talked about her purpose, right? Which is about empowering the undervalued. And thank you so much for that amazing woolly mammoth. That's so great. Thank you so much, Irish. I love you, my friend. Love you so much. All right. And Matthew, I didn't know you were a Peace Corps volunteer. That is so amazing. I'm not surprised in the slightest. You're definitely that caliber of person who would be doing that. So it totally makes sense to me that you're doing that. All right. So when we talk about purpose, what are we talking about here? Right? Now, most of us have had a job before or are having a job now, right? At some point in our lives, most of us have had a job, and most of us have been working for someone else. And in doing so, we find that those companies or those organizations have this big goal that they want to make a difference in the world, these lofty dreams of this intention to make an impact in the world, right? So you can see that arrow that goes up, the high arrow, that's enterprise intent, the company's intent. They want to make a difference. You might not always feel that because most of us as employees would be down in the bottom where we talked about employee experience. On a day-by-day basis, we don't get the feeling that we're making a difference with our work, right? There's this gap. But if you actually sit down, I know a lot of people don't know this because they don't get oftentimes a chance to sit down with the people who are in charge of companies. But usually if you sit down with many board of directors, many people who are in leadership positions in some of the biggest companies, and you talk to them, they really do at that stage want to make a difference with their company. But they can't do it on their own. They try to motivate people, they try to get input from people, but there's always this gap. And that gap between employee experience and the intention of the organizations that we're all a part of, that gap represents the opportunity for us to make a difference, for us to make an impact with our work. So it doesn't only have to be volunteering, or it doesn't only have to be if you're an entrepreneur, right? You can do it with whatever job you're engaged in. Look for opportunities to make a difference where you are. And that's what the work we do is all about. So today, if we're going to have a purpose-centric mindset, we have to get an idea of what we mean by purpose. So when we talk about purpose, we think, for example, we use a mug to illustrate it. A mug, right? What's it for? A mug is a receptacle for hot beverages, such as coffee, one of my favorites, tea, or something else if you like to put in a mug. Now, we don't mean anything hard like the whiskey or whatever, but you can put that in there if you want it. Right? But a mug is a receptacle for hot beverages. That's how it's designed, right? But can it be used for other things? Yes, it can. It can be used, for example, as a pencil holder. It can hold your pens and pencils, right? Now, if we use it as a pencil holder, we don't get to use it for its cool handle and its insulation properties to keep a beverage warm for a little while, right? So we don't get to use it for its best features. But at the same time, if you were looking for a pencil holder for your desk, right, and you wanted to get one for that purpose, you'd go to IKEA or someplace and buy something for that purpose. So it's the same with us as people, right? As people, the world is using you for something, right? So if you don't declare what you're for, the world will just use you for whatever you happen to be nearby for. So, I need to hold some pencils and pens on my desk. They just go grab the cupboard from the kitchen. There you are, being used for something that you weren't necessarily designed for, right? So by getting clarity of your purpose, you can let others know what you're for and communicate that with other people. So how do we figure out what our purpose is, right? So what you do is there's 2 steps that we have you take, right? And so this is something that you can do at home. I invite everyone who's on the stream to take this as like some what we call home play, which is that we all have enough work to do. So rather than homework, some home play with this idea. So we suggest that you make 2 lists. The first list is a list of your fulfillments. So these are moments when you have that thought, this is why I'm here in the world. This is what my life is for. Or I feel like I'm really making a difference, making an impact with what I'm doing right now. And it fills you all up inside with a lot of warmness and fulfillment, right? So that's your moments of fulfillment. So you look for those high points in your life and you make a list of those. So that's the first step. Then the second step is to make a list of your frustrations, right? So those are those moments in your life when you experience a deep frustration, not like someone cuts you off in traffic or something, right? A deep frustration that it's not okay with you, that it's this way in the world. Like, for example, for me, it's not okay that people aren't happy with their work. They're not fulfilled in what they're doing in their work. That they feel like their time at work is wasted, that their life is wasting away. For me, that gets me so frustrated deep down. So you want to make a list of your frustrations, those times in your life when you have it should not be that way in the world. It's not okay with me that X happens in the world. So you make a list of those things that frustrate you. And so with those 2 lists, you look for the common thread, the common theme. And to help us explore that, our featured guest today, Ian Stephen, has done this exercise of making the 2 lists. And we're going to talk together for a minute and explore what Ian's purpose might be, so you can get a sense of how you might begin to figure out what your purpose is. All right, so Stephen, I think Ian Stephen will have requested the box. I think that's him over there. Let me just check here. Okay, just get my mouse. Right, Ian in the box. Thank you for the favorites and all the gifts, everybody. We appreciate you. Right, it's trying to put Ian in the box. The box again, Ian. So Ian's going to try and request that box again. Here he comes. Hello, Ian.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
We're seeing your wonderful introduction there. I love it. It's so great. Great to have you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us today. Everybody meet Ian. I met Ian here on this app, and I tell you what, he's one of the very first people I met. He's a talented musician, but that was just the front door into finding out how bloomin' amazing Ian Stephen is, right? Even Ian owns a couple of businesses. He's a very experienced businessman in Malaysia, right? He's very talented, and he's incredibly intelligent, but also really accessible, really humble. So if you hang out with Ian, you just love every minute you spend with him. So if you haven't already hit the favorite on Ian, or you haven't met him, definitely hit him with a favorite right now. Definitely go hang out with Ian. We love him a ton. So I'm going to go jump right into it, Ian. So please just begin by giving us a little introduction of yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
All right. Hey, my name is Ian Stephen. I'm from Malaysia. Can you guys hear me clearly? Just want to test.
We hear you very well. Yeah, very good.
Okay. So I'm a filmmaker / content producer here in Malaysia. I own 3 companies. One is a production company that does film and ads for locally here in Malaysia. We also do international clients here and there, from Singapore to South Africa to Australia. I also do talent management in another company that I own, which is KLSY Talents, where we manage local talents here in Malaysia to actually do, let's say, for events, if they want to perform and all that, releasing album, singles and all. Yeah, so I pretty much do a lot of that. And also another marketing company, which we help people do online advertisements and all that kind of stuff to be pushing their brand out there, as well as website design.
Yeah, see, so you can see, I already got how many companies Ian's currently doing around, He's just so amazing. He can't even, 3 companies, not 2. I stand corrected.
And probably another 2 more coming up, which is crazy.
There we go. There we go. You're absolutely very inspiring, Ian. And so everybody who's here, getting to meet Ian, you can see he's obviously very successful and very talented. But what we're going to do now is we're going to look into the list that Ian created. So you did this home play, didn't you, Ian?
Yeah, I did.
That's great. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a chance to kind of take us through your lists, right? And in fact, I may look like I'm not paying attention to you because I'll be looking down, but that's just because I'm making notes as well. And we'll be interacting. I'm just going to kind of have you tell us your lists, and then I'll interrupt you or ask you questions as we go through them. And if you're watching the stream right now, for everyone else who's watching, right, this is an example of the kind of dialogue you can have with your friend when you've created your lists. You can work with them to listen to the questions I'm asking, and you can have your friends ask you that question to reflect on your own purpose and see if you can find the themes. All right, go ahead, Ian. Take us through your list of fulfillments to start with.
Yeah. So my list of fulfillments, I have a lot, but I will only highlight a few. One of it was that I feel like it's very fulfilling on my side was when I first received awards for the ads that I've been producing, and that was like really amazing. First time people actually come up to me and said that, oh, your ad made an impact, and then it really helped with our sales and all that. And as well as sometimes the ads that we do here in Malaysia has like a meaning behind it. Then there's like a short like moral story. A lot of the times where these kind of ads happens during the holidays, holiday ads, they always have like a meaning to it. Like, okay, so we usually do ads like that here, and it's very fulfilling for me. And when I won awards for that ad, there's one particular ad we did with McDonald's, won like 11 awards for it, for ads of the year here in Malaysia. And another fulfilling part from my side was when we were, me and my business partner, this was when we just did it independently without the company's branding. So it was just me and my business partner. We actually hosted a like a marketplace where actually we invite single parents, single dad or mom, to open up stalls to actually start selling their products and all that kind of thing. And it was so fulfilling because throughout the entire weekend, we managed to garner up to roughly about $10,000 from just doing that kind of event. We had it in the mall, and everyone was just so happy. They were like, wow. And what actually triggered me and my business partner to actually start that event was when we were going through our the people that we hire in our company, and then we noticed that there are some who are single parents and they are like doing multiple jobs at the same time while working with us. And then we're like, hey, why not we make a difference and try to do something. So we did that. This happened in 2019. Yeah, which is really, it was just out of the blue. Me and my business partner were like, we just sat down in the office. Okay, let's do this. Okay. I'm going to take
amazing, Ian. That's really amazing. So I just want to kind of, I know those are only 2 examples, and they're really great ones, by the way. And what I want to kind of, question that comes to mind just on those 2 is, when you won the awards, the 11 awards for the ad, right? What was it that you realized that made it fulfilling? Because of course, winning awards is great; it's satisfying, right? And for everyone who's listening to the stream, right, satisfaction is fleeting, which means that we can be satisfied when we achieve a goal, but then it goes away. Whereas fulfillment is something we're experiencing all the time. And so when you achieve that result, it was actually a recognition of something you had already achieved. You'd already made some kind of difference with your ad, such that people recognized it with the 11. It wasn't the actual award that was fulfilling, but rather what you accomplished through the ad. So what do you think or feel that you accomplished, or what impact do you feel like you made with the McDonald's ad?
Yeah. So with the McDonald's ad, we made people laugh. So that's the fulfillment. We wanted to just target happiness. Okay. If you guys notice my stream, when I do my stream, it's also make happy, be happy, and it's also throughout my business. Yeah. So it's to make happiness. All the ads that we do is all about making happiness, and that's why McDonald's work really close with me, because they are the epiphany to make happiness. You know, Happy Meal is their thing. So,
that's really interesting, right? Because what you talk about there, you talk about happiness, and what I also hear, and it isn't your tagline, but what I really hear, because happiness can be a bit of a tricky word in the English language. A lot of people try to get to happy, but what I hear is like this sense of joy that you're creating as well, right?
Yeah.
This real sense of, and you can be joyful without even, you can even experience joy when you're not in a happy mood, but you can still feel that like joy, that like you're with someone and that you're experiencing that joy, even if you're not bouncing around the room, right? And then when you had that market, right? You were, what was the difference you felt you made to those single parents?
Okay, when we did that, the difference was that me and my business partner basically felt like we can do this on another scale, like make it bigger and all that. Because from what we achieved over the weekend of that event, I think the biggest fulfillment was that when the kids come to us and then they said like, "Thank you for doing this." I'm like, wow. When an adult tells you that thank you for hosting this is one thing. When a kid comes up to you and said thank you for helping my mom or dad do this, it's another like level,
What do you think? So that's really good. Let's just take a look at that, right? What is it that those kids noticed about their mom or dad that they were saying thank you to you for?
I think they noticed that they are working overtime. Like they actually are working hard as hell to actually provide an education and a proper like day-to-day life for their children. And for us to actually do an event like this, which we did not charge them for to open up a table there. We just gave it. So me and my business partner, we took out from our own pocket money, and then we just book a venue in a mall. We just tell them, hey, we're going to do this. Yeah.
But what do you think that the kids were noticing that you made possible for their parents that they were so happy about?
Pardon?
What do you think? What do you think, Ian, that the kids noticed about their parents that you made possible that made them so happy? That made the kids so happy?
I think it's just how we hold the entire event itself. We didn't make it very professional. It was like if you actually go to attend the event, there's no proper theme and structure. It was like all over the place. It's like this side is where people do hand painting. This side is where people actually sell arts and crafts. This side is food and stuff. So it was like everything in one place. Some people might go into the mall thinking like, what did we step into? I thought we went to a mall and it became like,
that's right. So you know what's coming out in what you're saying that I hear is a sense of fun and freedom.
Yes.
Right? It's like, wow, my mom or my dad, they're having fun here. They're doing stuff and they're having a great time and doing what they want to do. Right? Can you see that?
Yeah. And
it's
this was earlier, I think, or end of 2019. I was also streaming back then, and I actually teach some of the parents to actually do some live stream stuff to actually promote their products and all that. So I was already back then in 2019, but not on this platform, but it was on a different one. But I teach them like, hey, just go live, just try it out, reach out to people if you want to gain more attention to your product or what you've been doing. Live streaming is a thing here. It was already a thing 5 years, 6 years, maybe probably 10 years back in China, which is very big. Yeah.
And I can hear what you're saying there with what you were doing with the parents, right? Is you were bringing the sense of play. Like, oh, let's try something out. right? And that was actually this feeling that I can hear about what was going on in the mall. This sense of play, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you like you said, it's not so structured and serious and square, and right. It's about having some fun and playing, like as an exploration, as a creativity place. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. You're doing amazing. And when I'm checking in with you with some words, because these are keywords that we will try to use to get the themes that we're looking for today, right? All right. Now, I just want to kind of take a look at some of the frustrations. So let's take a look at some of those.
Oh, frustrations. Lots of frustration. So sometimes, here's one thing. Something that frustrates me is that I don't like. One thing that I don't like is that when people do not listen, they choose to state opinions upon opinions and not listening, which I feel like it shouldn't be the way. I feel like we should listen more. We should listen to people more. And this is one thing I've been already having my day to day. I choose to listen. Okay, so all this is a choice. And what frustrates me is when people choose to just give opinions and pile them upon other people's problems. Just like, I feel like, just listen. That's just one thing.
What you can hear, and what Ian, what you're saying there as well, is like when we throw our opinions on other people and we're making our judgments, that's like still 1.0 thinking, isn't it? It's like, I putting my opinion on someone else is very much being at the effect of things, being that passenger seat sort of attitude, and so that's a really frustrating thing to witness. Great. Let's look at another frustration. Give me another one.
Okay, another frustration for me is when there's a lot of uncertainty. Like a lot of people, like in the gray area, when you're stuck in that gray area, it's neither black or white. Like you don't know it's a yes or no. And I don't like it when there's no outcome to it. It's just there. And then when you keep asking, it's just not coming out. Come on. You know what I mean? You want to do this or not? I don't know. And then there's sometimes where this is about business, and when it comes to things where people are like, they say they'll get back to you, and I'm like, okay, when? And then they give me a date, and they didn't get back to me. I'm like, okay, to me it's like a no immediately, right? And then out of nowhere they come back. They say, hey, you remember that brief you pitched? We want that. I'm like, we already said that. You have to get back to us during this period. You cannot just hop on and give us a yes or no answer whenever you like. And it's crazy. And also I just don't like the unknown, the don't know. Okay, also another thing in my company, that when everyone's working, when I ask for something, I've told this to them before, I don't want to hear you say I don't know, because that is like really triggering when you ask someone something and they're like I don't know, especially when you're working with professionals. So always use the term of like, I'll get back to you, I'll let you know, all these kind of things. That would actually really help, rather than saying I don't know. And then people are thinking like, so what do you know? Why did I hire you for?
Yeah. And just tell me in a couple of words, Ian, what is it about people not communicate, like saying, not saying I don't know, or people being unfocused, or that uncertainty, or not fulfilling through on their words, right? What is it about that bothers you so much?
That bothers me so much because I'm the type of person who wants to just keep moving forward. And ever since when I was young, I just don't like to be stuck. Like, I don't want to be stuck and not growing, because I always want to grow and do something. Yeah, I just want to keep moving forward. And that is my attitude. Yeah.
That's what I was looking for, right? So some key words for you, Ian, some key words for you are that came up, and about that one particularly is freedom, right? It's like this freedom to play, right? This freedom to play it seems to be you're really about. And if someone is not communicating or not following through, there's no freedom there, right? There's blockage.
Yes.
Something in the way.
Mm-hmm.
You see? But what I hear, when the parents came this freedom to play, you know, this freedom. And if you have freedom to play, you can be open, you can be authentic, which is what you're talking about when people are like throwing your opinions around and stuff. They're not being authentic and open, right? And they're definitely not being free to play and not creating an environment where others are free to play. Do you see that?
Exactly.
Right? And so some of the themes that are arriving for you, some keywords for you that I wrote down are joy, freedom, fun, play, and openness. But I think what you know, if, like a first draft of a purpose for you, I would say I am for freedom to play, right? Or full freedom to play, right? So just back for me.
You know,
Go ahead.
You want. It's just like I don't want people to just like put their opinions on you, saying that you cannot do it because someone said so.
Yes. Yeah. So could you just do me a favor? Say that back to me. I am for freedom to play, and tell me how that feels when you said it.
I am for freedom to play. Feels great.
And how does that feel when you say it? Does that resonate with you?
Feels great. Yeah.
Right? I just saw your face light up when you said it, right? It's really, and it's a first draft. Write it down, play with it, right? Have a play around with it. You know, and you know, you and I will have a follow-up conversation. You know, we're doing this sort of in a really compressed time scale, so it's not as thorough as if we spent time together. But it was more. But I think we got you know, maybe 70% the way there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. See, if you're about freedom to play, now just a question for you, Ian. If you think that, like, if you become aware that what your life is about, Ian, everything you do in your life is about freedom to play, right? That ad you did for McDonald's made people laugh. That work you did with those parents made people have freedom to play. These things that are frustrating you take away from the opportunity of having that freedom to play, right? And express oneself, right? What clarity, thinking about it from that perspective, how does that help you make a decision or focus your energy in your work?
How would that affect, like, how would that actually give me the energy or focus for my work? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, I've always already been that freedom to play kind of mindset, or more like just the freedom to be whoever you want, be creative, whatever you want. And I will always have this in my workplace. Like everyone, here's the thing about my production company. I told this to Gabriel. Everyone in my company can use the equipment to do whatever they want. If they pitch a story to me, like a short film, I don't mind holding lights for you, even though I'm your boss. Like I don't mind doing lighting or sound for you, and you guys can be the directors for your shoot. Just do whatever you want with the company's equipment and just have that freedom to express your creativity and whatever you want. I don't believe in restricting that, because I believe that we are all, and in this industry especially, is all passion driven. So if you take that away from people, you're taking away their passion. And what I believe is that we need to have 3 things in life to actually be successful, which is passion, patience, and confidence, right? So passion, patience, and confidence, this is what I believe in. So the first thing is always passion. And I always believe that when someone has a passion, they will always find ways to do it. And why not me to actually help you give the tools to do whatever you want, you know? So that passion, the patience comes in from yourself internally, and confidence also is from yourself to actually execute whatever you want to do confidently. Yeah. So that's really
and you know where your confidence comes from, Ian, in some ways, is that you bring play to it. See, if you don't get all like bent out of shape and super serious about everything, you know, you don't get as many difficulties in the confidence. Is one of the things I think you bring out in people, is that they can be confident because they're not worried anymore. They have that freedom that you bring in your environment, and you're absolutely an extraordinary man. I would love to have you back on the show again. We'll to dig in more and explore more, because I think we could all learn a lot more from you. It was this hour just went by so fast. Oh my God, what a crazy show! So fast. And Ian, you've been an absolute inspiration, absolute remarkable man. Everybody, please hit him with a favorite. Please follow Ian. Please go and check him out on Instagram. Go and check him out everywhere you can, because he's really a treasure. And I'm really just so blessed to have you as a friend. And I'm really glad we're working together.
As a friend too. And congratulations on having this verified show on the app. Guys, if you haven't favored Gabriel already, he'll be doing this even more. So do that. He's an amazing person. Super hugs to every single one of you here. And always remember, guys, we're always here. And only one thing is to make happy, be happy, to share that to everyone.
Thank you, Ian. You're amazing, my friend. Thank you so much. And Ian also has a featured show on the app, so make sure you hit him with a favorite so you can check it. When is that, by the way? When is your show, Ian?
I have a featured show here with my co-host. She's in chat right now, Lina. We have a featured show called The Little Talk Box every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about all kinds of topics for the week. And this week's topic is about heroes. Yeah.
Yes, very good. All right. Thank you so much, Ian. I appreciate every minute you spend with us, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Awesome. Okay. Wasn't that so inspiring? Hit a 1 if you thought that was really inspiring today. Oh, yes. Thank you for those gifts, everybody. Okay, hold on. We're going backwards. We mean to go forward. All right. So just to recap, your home play, if you're up for it, is to make your 2 lists and try and see if you can find the themes, and do that with a buddy and see if you can finish a statement, I am for, right? And for those of you who are thinking about diamonds and looking at, as a streamer, how do I make more? Ask yourself the question, what mindset am I bringing to my whole diamonds game? Am I being 1.0 and just like, why is no one giving me diamonds? Or am I being 2.0? I'm in the driving seat. Please give me diamonds. Or am I being 3.0 and actually using my stream to make some kind of difference in people's lives such that they're inspired to stick around, and over time they'll give you diamonds, right? So how are we approaching it? Think about that when you're doing your streaming. So thank you for all the gifts today. All the diamonds today does go to that Harp Homeless charity. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all the gifts you've been giving, all the participation. If you'd like to be a mini guest on next week's stream, if you want to do the home play and be a mini guest on next week's stream, we are back here again next Tuesday at the same bat time, same bat channel. And if you want to tackle the home play and share with us what difference it's been making for you, please type 1 in the chat, and we will be reaching out to you to hopefully get you as a guest, a mini guest, which is that you'll get a chance to share about 5 minutes, right? You won't have to do an Ian level and Phyllis level guesting. It's just a miniature show. We've got Raphael, Jamie. Okay, great. So that's really great, you guys, Jamie and Raphael, right? So we'll reach out to you to talk to you. Please hit me with a hi so I can reach out to you. And we will go ahead and give you a chance to do that next stream. All right, next week. Great. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this show today. Loved every minute with you guys. I will end this, and I'll in a little bit, I'll launch kind of like a debrief stream. We can all decompress after this first amazing show. Thank you again for coming today. It was a real joy. And we will see you all next week here